The most powerful thing a leader can do is name what someone is capable of before that person can name it themselves, right? Seeing that potential, that possibility in them, articulating it, making sure they hear it before they're willing or believe it for themselves. What a gift that is. Life's too short for bad coffee or bad leadership. I'm Lindsay Yellin, executive leadership coach, coffee enthusiast, and former ad VP turned believer in leading from a place of possibility. On Unfiltered Leadership, we skip the buzzwords and dig into the messy, human, and powerful side of leadership with real conversations and practical takeaways. Now grab your mug. Let's dive in. Hi, welcome back to Unfiltered Leadership. And I am so excited about today. And I want to start by asking a question for us all to consider together, which is, what does it actually feel like when someone believes in you before you believe in yourself? I think that is one of the most underrated forces in our career that we do not talk enough about, nor do we take the time to appreciate or reflect on enough, or bring attention to. So today I want to talk about that. And more specifically, I want to share with you 5 leaders who did exactly that for me and the lessons that I took from each of them that I believe that you can apply right now. So I'm going to share 5 leadership behaviors that completely changed the trajectory of my career, including what supported my transition from corporate exec in the ad world to executive coach, leadership development facilitator, all that I'm doing now. And these are not things that I learned in training. These are things that I experienced from the best leaders in my career that shaped how I support leaders now, how I led, and how I got my growth and my trajectory in my career. And it's really truly the moments where someone showed up in a way that just shifted the way that I saw myself and what they believed was possible for me. And I believe this matters for you, for all of us, because if you are leading people right now, whether you're a manager, whether you're an exec, or even you're just somebody that others look up to, you are having these moments with people every single day, moments to reflect back potential, moments to support, to champion, to be able to lead in a way where they are able to see something in themselves that they don't currently see that could unlock so much possibility. But you might not realize that. You're probably missing it. We all do, right? Life moves fast, work moves fast, it demands a lot. It's hard to miss them, but they are the moments that matter that make the biggest difference. So I want to share a few of those moments from my own experience and career, share the behaviors, tell you a little bit about it, the quick story, but most importantly, how you can apply it immediately for you in your career trajectory and navigation or in those around you. So this is a special one. I'm so glad that you are here. I think it's important too that we take the time to give flowers to those that have been really influential to us. And so selfishly, personally, this is a moment that I get to give out flowers and praise and recognition and a reflection to 5 leaders who really, really, truly deserve it. And it might inspire you to do the same. So let's grab our mugs, everybody. Fill it on up with whatever you want. We got some gems to talk about. We got some stories. We got some lessons. Let's go. First belief. Great leaders don't just mentor, they sponsor. The most powerful thing a leader can do is name what someone is capable of before that person can name it themselves, right? Seeing that potential, that possibility in them, articulating it, making sure they hear it before they're willing or believe it for themselves. What a gift that is. And Jess Henrichs, one of the first most incredible, influential leaders, managers that I worked for years and years ago, really demonstrated this for me. And it was early on in my career. I was just a wee little senior account executive, my first role in the big corporate ad agencies at Digitas. And I was working on this account, Sprint, love the telecom industry. And what I didn't realize was I was very stagnant. I had a leader that didn't, or a manager, I should say, who didn't see a lot of potential in me, kind of kept me small. And I kind of wasn't getting much growth, but I was chugging along. But an opportunity came for me to step up and lead this massive launch where I ended up doing more senior work than I was doing, definitely manager level work. It was running this massive campaign launch across agencies, managing very senior big clients, managing all these moving pieces, all the different teams on Sprint internally that I had to make sure we're getting everything right and understood what was going on. I was being the everything person on this project. But I didn't have the title, right? I was just this little SAE that just is trying to find her way and stepping up to an opportunity that came. And I really found my stride. But Jess saw it. and she stepped into a reorg during that time. And she pulled me aside as they were talking through our new positions on this account. And she said, I thought you were at least a manager, if not even more senior. And based on the way that you're handling the work, the way the people, the launch, the way you're talking to people, I honestly couldn't believe it. And I remember in that moment feeling so seen in a way that I hadn't before and believed in, and like, oh, wow, wait, I am actually good at this. Oh, wow, she respects me. Oh, wow, I have greater potential than I thought, right? That kind of moment of like, okay, brush your shoulder off. This is maybe I did a good job. But here's what mattered more than the words is that she acted on it. She acted on the fact that she said, I see potential in you. You did an incredible job. You have a lot of skills and talent and potential. She acted on it. And she gave me opportunities to continue to grow that. And she didn't just give them to me. She helped nurture me through them and supported me through them and challenged me. So she advocated for me in rooms that I wasn't in without me even knowing it. She was the leader who got me to London for my number one career goal. She made that happen when I asked for it. And that happened within like 3 months of me telling her that that's what I wanted. She was that strong of a champion for me. And it's interesting, even before that, maybe a year or two before that, she sat me down after we had been working together and she said, I want to sponsor you. And then she explained what that meant. It wasn't just that she was like my manager's manager, like the senior leader on the team I was on. She was saying that I am going to speak for you when you're not there. I am going to take a personal investment in your career and help champion and help navigate you to where you want to go, where we see the potential. I am here to support you as a senior leader with influence in this agency. I had never experienced that before. And she did that. She didn't just say it, she did it. She is a woman of incredible integrity and belief, and she uses it to help rise people up. And I was a lucky recipient of that. And I learned so much from her skills, her prowess, her ability to see potential, her way to handle really big situations, and her ability to see things in people they do not see in themselves. She once told me, Lindsay, your skill or one of your amazing traits is that you are like a swan. You are so graceful and calm on the surface and just gliding along and making everybody feel calm and supported and at peace. Underneath the surface, your little feet are doing so much, but no one can tell. You're just gliding along. And before that, I had never really realized, I had that articulated before, what I was able to do that made me good at my job. And once I knew that, I was able to do it even better. So that was also a really big gift. So what I want you to take away from the story and from Jess is that if you are leading somebody right now, I want you to ask yourself, am I talking about them when they're not in the room? Is that the type of leader I want to be for these people? And if so, am I doing it? If not, how do I start? How do I bring attention to that? Also, am I creating opportunities for them, or am I just evaluating them? Am I creating opportunities for them, or am I just evaluating them? And where do I think those opportunities are? Do they know that? Do they know that? There is a difference between a mentor and a sponsor. Mentors give advice, sponsors give access. So know the difference. Be both if you want to be, right? For the people that you believe in, but also look around. Who's on your bench? Who are your mentors? Who are your sponsors? Are there gaps? How do you nurture relationships in a meaningful way to be able to have the right mentors and sponsors that align to your values and the trajectory that you want in your career, making reciprocal relationships as well. Sponsors, mentors, there is a different. Who are you to those? There's also managers. There's managers, there's mentors, there's sponsors, right? There's lots of different people. But know the difference. Be intentional with people that you choose to mentor and sponsor, but also who are your mentors and sponsors. Belief number 2, say your ambitions out loud, but choose your audience wisely. All right? There is a version of my life where I never became a coach. It almost didn't happen. Not because I lacked the drive or the courage to take risks, but really it's because when you speak an aspiration out loud, it is scary, especially something that feels like a 180 from what you're doing, what you've been rewarded for, what you've grown to do, what you're getting praise and money and value for, right? That is scary. But Ronnie Dickerson Stewart is the reason I said it anyways. Ronnie and I have known each other for over 14 years. Ronnie is a gift to this earth, a gift to me, and we met each other because we were randomly seated across from each other at Digitas 14 years ago and became desk mates and friends. She quickly became a mentor. I looked up to her so much. I learned so much from her. And she was more senior than me. She had been around the industry, the agency longer, and I looked up to her enormously. But she became such an invaluable partner and friend. So I can remember our relationship continued to grow for years. We worked at Digitas together for a very long time. And then we moved on, became coaches, our own careers, and now we are partners. We do a lot of work together. But I remember one day back 2019, we were sitting in a quiet corner of this little cafeteria where we would meet up to spill the tea and catch up. And I remember that it was the first time I ever said out loud to anybody, I think I may want to pursue coaching. I was nervous saying it because once you say it, it becomes real. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, as my best friend likes to say. And I knew that if I said it out loud to Ronnie, the ball was going to start rolling and it wasn't going to be able to stop it because I knew that she would hold me accountable. I knew I'd hold myself accountable. I just knew that saying it to Ronnie was serious business, right? And her response immediately was, yes, absolutely. Of course you should. No hesitation, no doubt, zero judgment from her whatsoever, just belief and excitement and enthusiasm and oh my God, of course, right? And I cannot tell you how much that moment mattered. Because if she had given me a different answer, if she had shown doubt or hedged or projected her own fear onto me, to my idea, there is a very real chance that I would never have taken that next step. I needed her to confirm this intuitive thought, this belief, this idea, and she did. So a couple things about this. As a leader, when someone shares something vulnerable or aspirational with you, you either have the power to expand that or to shut down that possibility. Your response in that matter might define what they do next. So be really present and intentional of how you are responding, not reacting, and doing so from a place of curiosity and support and open-mindedness and not projection of what you think is possible for you, meaning it's possible or not possible for them. And that brings me to the next point of, as an individual, speaking an aspiration out loud is an act of commitment to yourself, to others. You're making something real. You're putting it out into the world in a different way. So once you say it, it really can become real. But that's the point, right? Hear yourself say it, to have someone else hear it, to take it to that next step. But be intentional about who you share it with. Not everyone is ready to receive your early ideas. You need to protect them. You need to protect yourself. So find the people who meet your vulnerability with belief, not projection. Too often, people will hear ideas and they might show doubt, they might show hesitation, they might try to talk you out of it or ask a lot of questions that make you start to doubt it. And most often than that, that is nothing having to do with you, your potential, or the idea itself. It has to do with their own perception of themselves and their ability to do something new, do something different, do something courageous or scary or whatever it is that you're talking about. Most likely, it is them projecting their own feelings and beliefs onto you. So find somebody who is going to fully be open-minded and believe you and it be about you and not them. And that takes a lot of regulation and self-management and control and self-trust. So I say that wholeheartedly to be super mindful about that. Belief number 3, ask for help before you feel ready, even from people who feel out of reach, especially from people who feel out of reach as long as they feel safe. So have you almost not asked for something or asked for support or something like that because the person on the other side felt maybe too senior, too accomplished, too important to bother, right? I almost didn't ask Amy Cheronis for help when I needed it. And that would have been the biggest mistake of my career. Single-handedly, one of the biggest mistakes of my coaching career. So Amy and I started working together on your KitchenAid account, my last big account before I moved into coaching. And she stepped in at a very senior level to help with a really tough transition. And we immediately connected. We became partners of how do we right the ship, bring our teams together for the client, all the things, whatever. And I quickly learned that she is one of the most generous people I have ever worked with, a champion of women, an extraordinary connector, someone who gives her time, her beliefs freely to others, her energy, her enthusiasm, her smarts, her experience, shares it so generously. She loves to help people who are trying to either growing early in their career or navigating a big transition in her career. And she did exactly that for me. It was April 2020. Yep. Right after COVID started. And was getting certified to be a coach. I was just starting my certification and I had to get paying clients in order for my certification to happen. And I remember how uncomfortable that was and how hard it was to reach out to people and say, hey, I'm doing this. Do you know anyone? Do you need a coach? Do you want to pay me to do something that you don't know much about, nor know if I'm good at, and I'm new to it? Like, hey, help a girl out. So intimidating, so vulnerable, very scary. Okay. Because I'm known as the account person, this person successful in the advertising world, not a coach, right? But I ended up mentioning it to Amy one day on a call and I just felt this pull to be like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm trying to get clients. I've sent out this email, like I'm working on this thing. And she just immediately responded with, send me your email. I'm going to share it with my whole network. I have so many people. Oh my God, I'm going to position it like this, being a credible comms PR expert that she is. She goes, I got you. Send it to me. I made sure everything looked perfect. I sent it off. No joke, within minutes, I got a response that said, maybe I need to hire you. My jaw was on the floor. Fast forward, Amy became my first executive client. She referred countless people my way the next year or two. And honestly, because of her referrals, her trust in me, us working together, and how she leaned into the work and the coaching and what she got from it, she made it possible for me to go full time. And actually, she made it possible for me to believe that I could build something, which I have. And she did all of this because I said something out loud to somebody that I easily could have been like, oh no, don't even bother. Yeah, even though I felt vulnerable and bold, a little slightly presumptuous, I said it. And it was one of the best things I could have done. So don't wait until it's polished. Okay? Don't wait until it's perfect, because that doesn't exist. If something in you says, share this, tell them, invite them in, there's a nudge. That's your intuition talking. That's the universe trying to push you towards what you need to do to make your realities happen, your dreams into realities. So even if it feels a little out of reach, just do it anyways. Trust that people who have accomplished a lot want to help you. Trust your instinct to the people who want to help you. If they don't, they won't. Also believe that they can set their boundaries, they can say no, they can be honest with you, and that is their responsibility to tell you where they can meet you, where they feel comfortable supporting you, not you to make the guess for them and not even give them a chance to show up for you. Especially when the relationship has been genuine, especially when you've been building something and there's trust and respect and integrity, lean into that. Cash in some of that currency, because my guess is that you will repay it back and that they're dying to help you. People love to feel needed. People want to help. Let them help you. Don't assume they're too busy or too senior for you. That is actually a disservice to them. That is a disservice to them. And as leaders, create environments where people feel safe asking before they're ready. That takes psychological safety, that takes trust, that takes vulnerability, that takes modeling what that looks like for them to believe it's possible and to do it for themselves. That is where growth actually happens. Number 4. This is a 2-for-1, okay? Because this leader is so great. First, champion the whole person, not just their role on your team, okay? One. The other, it's not always a performance problem. It's a role fit problem. I love this one. I just recently reflected on this. Okay. So I had told my brand new account leader in our very first one-on-one ever, I was one of their VPs managing a massive account within a portfolio. Okay. They had just come on. And I had told them in our first one-to-one, I'm planning to leave. Chris Loeffler's response, shout out to Chris, changed what I believe leadership could look like. And then the way and everything he did following that moment. Chris is literally the Ted Lasso personified in the corporate ad world. Full stop. And he came in as this account EVP on this massive portfolio, which KitchenAid was one of the accounts. I was managing all of KitchenAid, the largest account within the portfolio. And I learned quite quickly that we both came on at like the same time. And it felt very serendipitous that really the last corporate leader I'd worked for was Chris. But from day one, I realized that his priority on this portfolio was understanding the people, not just the work. And he didn't just talk the talk, he walked the walk. And he demonstrated that to me in that first one-on-one where I kind of threw a huge curveball his way, right? So I had told him in that one-on-one that I intended to transition out of account management, go into coaching, that this was a dream of mine. I didn't know when, I didn't know how, but I was pursuing my certification. I was passionate about it. I loved it. And it was my goal to go into something people-oriented and get out of account management. You know what? And you know what he said? He said, that is so cool. He didn't pull back. He didn't panic. He didn't go, oh shit, here I have a VP on my team. How am I going to make this work if she's already ready to walk out the door? He didn't lead from fear in this conversation. He led from a place of possibility. And he said, he leaned in and he said, I want to support you as you figure that out. Let's see how we can use those skills and that passion here on the account and how I can support you trying to figure out what comes next. He supported me through my certification in a way that the agency wouldn't even do it. He let me coach people on the team. He let me design workshops with other coaches on the team. Shout out to Steph Kelly that we took the team through. He gave me the role of rebuilding the account culture, seeing that potential in me and that passion that that's what I was like meant to do. And when the time came for me to leave, he actually worked with me to find a way to transition as part-time, which never happens in the ad world, especially in account management. And I went part-time for about 9 months, which was a huge win for the account and a big win for me. It was super creative. It was super generous and focused on what was right for me and the team. And that's always how he showed up. Seeing me as a whole person, seeing me as somebody who had something to offer through what I was interested in and where I wanted to move towards, instead of seeing me what shortcoming from what I wanted to walk away from. I just think that's so important to acknowledge the fact that the strongest leaders are the ones that look at a person and see them for who they are completely and trying to support their whole career and the whole person, not just the role they play in their team and the skills that help them be successful or the skills that are helping the work be good. It's about who they are, not just what they're doing. And just to help bring that to life even more, the kind of part 2 of this was, I'll never forget this. There was a project manager on our team who just was struggling and they weren't performing that well. And a lot of people were giving a lot of complaints about them, a lot of judgments. And it was kind of becoming a problem because it was getting in the way of the work. And there was a lot of frustration on this very high pressure account. And people were ready to write her off. They were really frustrated. And I was talking to Chris, I'm like, what do we do here? Like, they're so great. They work so hard, but it's not working. And he said, this is not a talent issue. This is a role fit issue. And that really stopped me because most leaders jump straight to, they're not good enough. What's the problem? They're the problem. And just look at the skills, right? And the output. And he really reframed it as, they're not in the right place to succeed. That's a huge difference. They're just not in the right place to succeed. He saw the potential of the person, the issue being the role they're in, not the person being the problem, right? I just was like, of course, why don't we look at everybody that way? Of course, sometimes there's an issue with the person or, this isn't 100% perfect, but there is something there that if we think about the person being whole and it just not being the right fit or the right time or the right responsibilities, is so different than saying that person's a problem, they need to be fixed. No, they do not need to be fixed. The environment they're in needs to be fixed. So leadership takeaways, to summarize this for you. The best managers invest in your whole career, not just your current role. If they're only developing what you can do for them, that is management. That is not leadership. There is a big difference there. Trust is given before it is earned. Chris trusted me with honesty from day one. I gave that honesty back. That reciprocity was a whole model. Okay. He believed in me. So I gave him so much up until the very end when I left. When someone on your team isn't performing, ask, is this truly a capability issue or is it a misalignment of strength and role and potential? Or leadership. Sometimes the leadership is off. Great leaders design for success. They don't just evaluate performance. Last but not least, start before you are ready and borrow belief. If I had waited until I felt ready, I would have never stepped into the room where I became a leadership development facilitator. Joan Vivaldelli believed I was ready before I did, and that changed everything about how I show up in my work today and basically my whole business model. So because of Chris and a couple other leaders that I worked, the execs, which I got and worked with because of Amy, right? You kind of see how this is all going. I got connected with Joan. And Joan saw something in me that I had not fully claimed yet at all. I was aspirational about it. I wanted it. I had dabbled in it. And that was leadership facilitator. She didn't just see a coach. She saw the intersection of the skills I had from account management, from my agency world, my coaching background and skills and talent, and my desire and ability to be a great facilitator, even though I wasn't leading a ton of leadership facilitation at all yet in my new role in my business. But she saw me. She saw me as someone who could build strong curriculum, stand in front of a room of leaders, teach them how to lead like coaches. That was what this is all about, how to lead like a coach. And she invited me to build it with her, for her. It was an aspiration of hers to bring this to the leaders of the agency. And she saw me as the right and the aligned fit person to do it. And honestly, I couldn't agree more. I was like, this is what I am meant to be doing. This is exactly the type of work I should be getting into at this exact moment. And she saw that and she believed in me and took a chance. And honestly, I had to also say yes before I was fully confident. She gave me the opportunity. I put together the proposal. I worked my butt off on creating something great. A few months later, she said, let's go. And I put my all into building something that I still find so special, still lead today. And it has made such an impact on leaders and understanding how to fuel more meaningful relationships and trust and people-oriented leadership styles through the art of coaching and the skills of coaching. And I will say the first time I stood in front of that room facilitating and teaching and connecting with leaders, something really truly did click into place that I had never felt before. And I remember thinking, this is what I was missing. This is it. And I would have never been there if it wasn't for Joan. And I tell her that all the time. So I don't know where my business would be without Joan trusting me to walk into that room. And I don't know if I'd be doing that work at all. But here I am, and it's some of the most meaningful work that I do. So the leadership takeaway here. Start before you're ready, folks. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes from taking the action. Courage comes first. Confidence comes second. Believe in yourself. And when someone more experienced than you believes you're the right fit for something, take that seriously. Their belief is data, and their credibility and that holds weight. And don't dismiss it. Use it. As a leader, your belief in someone might be the bridge they need to step into something bigger. Don't keep it to yourself. Say it. Act on it. Believe in people before you know that they're believing in themselves. It kind of reminds me of the story from Abby Wambach with her stepdaughter about soccer. And she had been like, you are going to make this team. She was trying out for soccer, okay? You were going to make the team. Like, she full-heartedly believed that she was going to make it, even though she was new to soccer and it was like a traveling, high competitive team. And her wife, Glennon Doyle, was like, she ended up making the team. And she goes, how did you know she was going to do it? How are you so confident? And Abby goes, I didn't. I was just as scared as you. And she didn't know if she was going to make it, but she believed in her and she made her stepdaughter believe that she had it. And because of that, she believed in herself. That is such a gift. Don't hold that to yourself. So if there's one thing that connects all 5 of these, the leaders who change your life are the ones who see something in you before you fully see it in yourself. And not just that, they act on it, they vocalize it, and they generously make sure that you believe it too. And they do something with it. They bring actions to their words and their beliefs. Every single one of these people, from Jess to Ronnie to Amy to Chris to Joan, took a risk on me. They invested in me. They believed in me before I was ready to believe in myself. And I work every day to do that same thing for other people and to return that generosity, not just out into the world, but to them, to make sure that they know how much I respected and valued and appreciated everything they did for me. The greatest way to honor the impact someone has on you is to turn around and do the same for someone else. So I leave you with 2 questions. Who were those people for you? Take a moment to reflect and enjoy that. And how are you being that person for someone else right now? And if you're not, where do you want to be? Who can you be that person for? So maybe send that text, maybe make that call, send that email, say thank you, or better yet, pay it forward. Thank you so much for being here. Let's go fill up our mugs with a fresh cup of coffee, seize the day, believe in others, and believe in ourselves. And I cannot wait to see you next time. Bye.